Hi guys, this is Michael from Theme Canon, and in this video I'm going to show you how to work with posts. Now I'll be showing you how to work with the different post types and also the Kause post settings. At this point I'll assume that you've already installed the Kause theme and have set up a blog. If you have not yet done this, feel free to have a look at our other tutorial videos on these topics. Alright, so let's get started. To create a new post, we go to Dashboard, Posts, and Add New. Let's start by giving our post a title, a little bit of content, and set a featured image. Now those are the basic requirements of most posts, so let's just go ahead and publish. And if we go to the front end, we will now see our new post show up in the blog roll. And if we visit our post, this is how a standard post will look like in Kause. Okay, so let's return to edit the post. The first thing I would like to show you are the post formats. These basically determine what kind of post you will be creating, and also they're used to determine how to display your post in the blog. As you can see, there are 5 post formats, including standard, quote, gallery, video, and audio. Below the editor window is where we have the Kause post settings. Now we've colored the box blue to make it clear that it belongs to the Kause theme. In the post settings box, you have a more detailed set of options available for your posts. And you will notice that these options change depending on the chosen post format. For now, let's stick with the standard post format and have a look at some of the post settings. The first post setting is the post style. While the post format determines the basic type of your post and how your post appears in the blog roll, the post style determines the layout of the internal post itself. The default setting is featured full width, which if we go to the post in front end, you will see means that the featured image is going full width. Now let's try and change this to featured boxed instead. And let's see what that looks like. Also notice that while the internal style of the post has now changed, the external appearance of that post within the blog roll remains the same. Next, let's try and change the post style to featured compact. And let's see what that looks like. Now as you can see, the image is now even smaller, and at the same time it is moved down under the title and into the document flow. Now this post style is great if you're using small images. Going back to the editor, the next post style you'll see is the project post. Now this post style will put your image to the right and put your content to the left underneath your meta info. As you can see, project posts are better suited for tall images and smaller text. So let's go back and try to set up our content to better suit this post style. First, let's choose a taller image. And let's minimize our text. And here's how our project post looks now. At this point, let me quickly show you our Shortcode Generator. This is located in the editor in the kitchen sink view. You can use this to add shortcodes and also small HTML code snippets. For this example, we're going to add a simple button. Notice that most shortcodes have extra parameters you can set. We've tried to show you what settings each parameters will accept, as you can see with the style parameter, or at least give you a hint at what to fill in, as you can see with the URL parameter. Now, most of our shortcodes will work with default content straight out of the box, so let's go ahead and update without changing the shortcode to see what result we get. And there you go. Now let's say we want to change the parameters of the shortcode. To change the button text, you can either put in your text after the shortcode has been generated, or you can start with a button text and then by selecting that text, create the button shortcode around it. This goes for a lot of the shortcodes. Let's also go ahead and change the style to small and put in a URL. And this is the final result. Now let's have a look at our final post style. This is called the multi-post, and what this basically does is that it will turn your post into an article with multiple pages. This is great if you have themed articles or top lists where you want to group articles together. So let's say we wanted to create a themed article on, let's say, great causes. Let's start by creating a new post specifically for this purpose. We start out as normal with a title, some content, and a featured image. Set the post style to multi-post. And now at this point you have to break your post content into several pages. You do this with the next page tag. Notice that the next page tag must be inserted in the text editor. This is very important. So insert the next page tag and break your post into 3 subpages. And let's see what we have so far. So as you can see, we now have an article with 3 subpages. You can navigate between these pages by clicking the arrows or by using the arrow keys on your keyboard. Now let's go ahead and make these pages feel more like actual articles. Let's insert images at the top of each page and also include a heading. And finally, you have the option to put a master text that will get displayed at the top of your multi-post. Now, this is great if you want to give a general introduction to your themed articles. And there you have it. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to show you is the post setting called Feature Style. Let's go back to our standard post. Now usually your post is represented by its featured image in the block roll, as you can see here. But you have the option to replace the featured image with embeddable media instead. So let's say we wanted to create a video post. We would change our post format to video, set the post style to standard full width, and in feature style we select use embeddable media instead of featured image. Notice that we are now required to supply an embeddable media code. So for this purpose I have found a video on Vimeo. Go ahead and grab the embed code and paste it into the featured media input. Let's update and let's go back to our block roll. Now as you can see, our post is now represented by a video instead of a featured image. And the same goes for your internal post. Now some people prefer to create their own thumbnail and instead have media open up in a Lightbox. This is also possible. Just set your feature style to use featured image but open media in Lightbox. Now the important thing to notice here is that this feature requires a link and not an embed code. So we're going to change our embed code to a link instead. And let's also turn on autoplay. Select a featured image. And as you can now see, we have our post represented by a featured image. But if we click it, our video will open up and play in a Lightbox. The same is true for the internal post. If you want to create an audio post, the procedure is exactly the same. Simply use an embed code from an audio provider like for example SoundCloud instead of a video. The next setting is the excerpt/quote box. By default, the post excerpt in the block roll is generated automatically. This is the easy solution for most people. However, you cannot control the size of the automatically generated excerpt, and it will also strip out all HTML tags and shortcodes. The extrude box lets you take complete control of your extrude. So let's put in some post content. Let's turn our feature style back to use the featured image. And let's put a short custom extrude in the extrude box. This is what it will look like in the blog roll. Now, just to show that you can put whatever you want in the extrude, let's try and include an embed code, and let's also try and add a bit of HTML. So let's reuse our embed code from earlier. And let's put in some simple HTML. Now, the result is not exactly pretty, but it is merely to demonstrate that you have full control of your post extrudes. Now, the extrude/quote input is also used with the quote post format. So let's go ahead and create a quote post. Select the quote post format. Let's say we want to display our quote as a tweet. Put in a byline. And finally, let's put in the quote itself. As you can see, quotes do not have featured images. Only the quote itself will appear. Under the extrude box, we have options that lets you hide the post from either blog, gallery, or popular lists. And finally, we have the post slider control. Now, the post slider will by default display all images that are attached to your post. You can attach images to your post by uploading them directly to the post. Now notice that images uploaded to the media gallery and then later on included in your post are not attached to your post. Let's go ahead and attach a couple of more images to this post. Remember that once the images are uploaded and attached to your post, you don't necessarily have to insert them into the post, so let's just skip that. And if we refresh the editor, you can now see that we have 3 images in our post slider. Let's revert the post to the standard settings. And while we are at it, let's also select a different featured image. Now let's visit the post. As you can see, we now have a post slider at the top. And finally, let's try and hide the attached images from the slider. We now have a post without featured image and without a post slider. If we go back and turn the images on again and convert this post to a gallery format, you will see that your post now displays as a slider gallery in the blog. And that's pretty much all there is to working with posts in Kause. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching.